Yo, what is going on, growmies? Hope y'all are doing well, growing well. Now, growmies, finally, after about 70 total days of flower, Northern Lights number 2 can be harvested. In this tent, we have a ton of different phenos, so I'm planning on doing a partial harvest for some plants since my dry space is only about a 2x2 area. Looking at the phenos, the scents and profiles are very well developed and have become borderline offensive to look in the direction of the plant. The scent profile was pretty sweet for a while, mainly smelling like grape terpenes, but now is a very classic raunchy dank herb smell. The first times that I walked into a dispensary, honestly, that's exactly what Northern Lights smells like. Pure stanky, dank weed with a very sharp nose tickle and heavy air scent. Some strains have terpenes that smell almost more oxygenating than air, but this strain is heavy. The air around the flower is extremely dense and fully encompassing. It almost feels like the smell gets stuck in your hair and clothes just being next to it. I've never experienced such an intoxicating and permeating scent. Now, for a lot of people, what I just described may seem like, how would somebody like those dank heavy smells? And well, the best way that I can describe it is imagine having incredibly strong spiced food and seasoning. Because of the intensity of the scent, for example, garlic or onion, it is so sharp and almost offensive, you want to look away. It burns, and that's pretty much what Northern Lights is like. Looking at all of these phenos, they have been developing at different rates with pretty different bud structures as well. Talking about strain behavior. Alright, growmies. So when I grow medicinal plants, we have to keep in mind that every strain and pheno reacts differently. Some plants are a complete breeze to grow and require sometimes barely any food at all. For example, Purest Indica number 1 is probably the easiest plant I've ever grown, as it's not hungry or sensitive for specific nutrients. And that goes for the same as Northern Lights number 2. This is not a tricky plant to feed or grow at all. Now, after growing out the pack of Northern Lights number 2 seeds, from my personal experience in my grow environment, this hybrid strain has a wide range from ultra stretchy to extremely squat plants. But most plants are right in the middle. Looking at the leaves, they are mostly in between long and serrated and broadleaf. When flipping to flower, most phenos stretch like crazy. I have never ever had plants stretch that far, so it definitely took me by surprise. Normally I would do training to help reduce the stretch, but since this was an attempt of a sea of green, I wanted apical dominant growth. Diving into some of the tallest phenos, they ended up getting way too tall and had to be super cropped. The vegetative growth of this strain is not extremely bushy and littered in unnecessary leaves, which makes for a very easy growing plant, especially during flower. Heat and drought resistance, a story. Alright, so during this grow, I had a lot of crazy real life stuff happen, which honestly took many days out of the week from getting to the tent. Throughout this time, massive drought and heat completely took over these plants for a double or even triple whammy. These girls were subjected to over 100-degree Fahrenheit days for upwards of 60 plus days. Now, just for reference, my other tent, I was also attempting a sea of green grow in the exact same grow conditions. Banana Melt, All Gas OG, and Bigfoot Glue really struggled and honestly nearly died. Since I opened up the Humboldt tent first, my heart sank and I felt like glass to see all my plants nearly dead, especially because it was only 3 days of no water. Reluctant and honestly completely frightened to open up the Northern Lights tent, I finally did. And the plants were fine. I swear it was like nothing happened. They didn't even skip a beat. Due to my grow conditions of extreme heat and drought, Northern Lights number 2 powered through like nothing, which completely surprised me because all of my other plants in the other tent, which weren't watered for about 2 to 3 days, also completely nearly died. Honestly, growmies, Northern Lights number 2 may be one of the most resilient strains that I've grown. The final nugs. As winter and fall are approaching, the sun starts to set really early. I don't want ultra sleepy, ultra heavy knockout weed because then I'm gonna be falling asleep every single day before 8 p.m. So I decided to harvest just right at that turning point where weed starts to get sleepy. But there are some phenos that really need that extra time to fully finish, so I'll still have my sleepy weed if I need it. And that's the best part about growing your own. You can decide exactly when you want to harvest for your exact medicinal purpose. And also, growmies, looking at these last phenos to finish, they actually follow a trend. All of the longest flowering phenos also stretch the furthest, which reminded me of stretchy long flowering sativas. These buds are huge, especially since supercropping, and I'm extremely excited to see how they'll continue to finish. Anyways, I'm going to push these Northern Lights number 2 plants as long as possible, just to see how the effects change with having terminal flowers, which a lot of growmies have suggested, especially for this strain in particular. I'm thinking maybe about another 2 to 3 weeks at the absolute most before it's time to harvest, and man, what a journey. Be sure to look out for the final remaining Northern Lights number 2 episodes, and once the flower is properly cured, I'll create an in-depth smoke report. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment. If you haven't seen my other grow/smoke reports, check them out. Keep it up out there, growmies, and stay motivated in this beautiful medicinal hobby. #growmiegang.